Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Northern Soul Reaper and today it's time for another marvellous monthly manga reading video. Yes, this is all of the titles that I've read in the month of March. So let's get right into it. Okay, so first up, I missed this title off my last video, so I get to make up for it today because I read some more of it this month. That is Fruits Basket Omnibus 5, and I also read Fruits Basket Omnibus 6. I started reading these not long after we finished the new 2019 version of the anime. My wife's got them sitting on the shelf, so I just decided, yeah, I'll give them a read. I've been reading them quite sporadically in between other series, but it's so fun and laid back that, you know, you can just go at your own pace with it. There's not a lot I can say about Fruits Basket that hasn't already been said. It's a really fun, wholesome series that has a beautiful love story at its core, and it's about how one girl can touch the lives of so many and bring joy into their lives. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm currently reading volume 7 as well of the omnibuses, and yeah, these omnibus editions are so beautiful. They've got lovely artwork, and yeah, they're just absolutely gorgeous. Really enjoying Fruits Basket. I'm gonna plop those. Bye Coral, sorry. I'm gonna plop those there. We'll make a little pile as we go. So next up, I read volume 3 of the Quintessential Quintuplets and volume 4 of the Quintessential Quintuplets. As I've said previously, this is a really fun series. It's in the vein of Love Hina. It's like a harem style, but it's very much not what you think about it. It's just a nice story. It's about a guy who is hired to tutor a group of quintuplets who are dangerously close to flunking out of school. And it's all framed by the narrative that he's going to marry one of them one day. It's being told via flashback, and I'm really enjoying it. I have, although all of the girls are great, I have decided that Miku is my choice for best girl, and she's the one that I'm rooting for. Really enjoying Quintessential Quintuplets. If you've heard about it, I would recommend giving it a go. It's a really fun comedy series, and I would definitely recommend checking it out if you're interested. If you've kind of been curious about it, just pick up the first volume and give it a go. Okay, so next up, I read my volume 1 of the Full Metal edition of Full Metal Alchemist. This is an absolutely gorgeous edition of Full Metal Alchemist. I believe it collects 1.5 volumes. I think it's like 1.5 volumes that are collected in each of these, and I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful. It's probably my, like, you know, out of all the different ways you can buy the series, I would say this is the best way to own it. And I also read volume 2 of Full Metal Alchemist as well. That one with Alphonse on the front, and yeah, they're just absolutely beautiful editions of this fantastic series. This is another one that came about from when we were watching the anime, and I just decided to pick up the first 2, but now that I've read these, I am clamouring for more, so I'm going to have to try and get a few more delivered soon so I can catch up and read some more. Okay, so the next thing that I read was Raw Hero Volume 1. This is by Akira Hiramoto, and he is the creator of Prison School. This is a really fun, ecchi series, very much in the vein of Prison School if you're familiar with that kind of storytelling and comedy. But yeah, I had an absolute blast with this. I thought that I would pick up Volume 1 just before I pick up Prison School, just to give this a go. But now that I've read this, I do want to pick up Prison School and read that as well, because the humour in it's just so funny. It definitely isn't your typical superhero genre type book. It's definitely not My Hero Academia, put it that way. It manages to kind of flip your expectations, and there's just some absolutely mad things that happen in this book. if you're into prison school, if you like that kind of art style and storytelling and humour, you can't really go wrong with Raw Hero. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend giving it a go if that's your type of thing. Okay, and next on the list I read Gigant Volume 1, which is the new manga from Hiroya Oku, who is the creator of Gantz. It starts off telling the story of a young man who wants to be a filmmaker, and he is obsessed with a certain adult video actress. She happens to live in his neighbourhood, and a chance encounter leads them to become friends. But something very strange happens along the way. I definitely don't want to spoil what happens, because it's absolutely crazy. If you're familiar with Gantz, you'll get the kind of storytelling straight away. I really enjoyed this first volume. It tells a really interesting story. There's a very compelling mystery at the centre that is left very much unanswered at the end of volume 1, but you want to know more. There's so much going on that you don't think that all of these things are going to be woven in, connected all together, but somehow they are, and it all makes sense when you're reading it. And I would really recommend it if you like Gantz. And yeah, give it a go. It's not just about a woman with big boobs. I would definitely recommend giving it a go. It's got a really great sci-fi story at its centre. And next up I read Volume 1 of The Children of the Whales. This is a brilliant title. The artwork is absolutely superb and the story is fantastic. It tells the story of Chikuro, who lives on one of the mud whales. It's a big island that drifts along on the sand sea, and it's kind of like a remnant of an old civilization, of a bygone era. And Chikuro is the archivist on this mud whale, and not wanting to spoil things, but one day when another island drifts close by, the things that they find there changes their lives forever. I've got a review up of this on my channel. I'll leave a card or a link somewhere for you guys to check it out if you want to know more about this series. I would really recommend giving it a read if you like something a little different. It's it's published under the shonen under the Viz signature range, and it's definitely like a different story. I would very much recommend giving it a go. It's got a little bit of shoujo in it. I think it technically is classed as a shoujo, but it doesn't feel like it. There's a lot of action, and yeah, it's really good. I would definitely recommend giving it a go. Keeping in the vein of the Viz signature range, I read Volume 1 of The Way of the Househusband and Volume 2 of The Way of the Househusband. These took me by surprise. They are absolutely hilarious. They are kind of like just little vignette stories about the immortal dragon, someone within the Yakuza who was really powerful, and he decided to give it all up when he fell in love, and he decided to become a house husband for his wife, who is basically a working woman who goes to work every day. And yeah, he's left behind, and the things that he gets into, he kind of goes at all of his daily tasks, like his mundane tasks, as if he was in the Yakuza. And it's just so funny to watch the kind of fish out of water comedy that comes from this. Watching him go shopping, or when he's being chased by some old mobsters and he leads them into a bargain discount sale that's going on, and he basically gets the other mobsters to grab discounted things. And it's just really funny. I would definitely recommend giving this a read if you want something a little lighter and funny. Each chapter's not very long, and you get a kind of a self-contained little story as it goes on. But there are characters that reappear, and I feel like a little narrative thread running through it. But they're very much kind of standalone little stories within. Way of the Househusband, really enjoyed it. The next thing that I read was Yona of the Dawn. We started watching the anime series of this, and to be honest, we haven't actually watched any more past like the first 3 or 4 episodes, but I really enjoyed it, and I put this in my basket and ordered it almost as soon as the first episode was over. And yeah, it's a really nice story. I also read Yona of the Dawn Volume 2. So the story centres around Yona. When her father is murdered, her father is the king, she is thrown into a life that she was never expecting. She is on the run, running from her pursuers, and accompanying her is her loyal guard, Hack. And it's another fish out of water type series, but there's a lot of politics and backstabbing at play, and it's a story that not only focuses on characters and like, you know, your typical shoujo story. It's going to span, you know, an empire, and there's so much at play. It's a great kind of grand political epic as well. I feel like I think it's gone on for about 30 or so volumes, so it's definitely a story on a grand scale. I've very much enjoyed these first 2 volumes, and I will be picking up more. So last up, I read a lot of one particular series, and this is kind of a sneak peek for my next haul video because some of these haven't appeared on camera yet. But I read volume 9, 10, 11, volume 12, 13. I'm going to have to put these down because I read volume 14, 15, 16, 17, and volume 18 of Assassination Classroom. This is one of the series that kind of got me back into reading manga and watching anime. We started off watching the anime series, and again I picked up the manga to read, and it's just absolutely superb. It's a story about a bunch of kids who have to kill their homeroom teacher before the end of March, or he's going to destroy the world. The teacher is a huge yellow tentacle monster. But it's not just about them trying to kill him. They learn things along the way. Their teacher brings out the best in them. It's been an absolute joy to watch these young kids grow up and kind of come into their own and learn what skills they're good at and consider their career options, and all whilst trying to assassinate their teacher. The cast of characters within it are great. There are a lot of the school kids. Sometimes it's hard to keep track or remember all of their names, to be honest, but the teachers as well that come into play, as well as their homeroom teacher Koro Sensei. They're all great. There's Karasuma, who is one of the government workers. He's there to make sure that they carry out their task before the end of March, but he's also their PE teacher. And then there is their English teacher, who the kids call Miss Vitch. She is their English teacher, and she is teaching them the ways of seduction as well, because that's her specialty. Assassination is seducing people. It's a fantastic story. It's got absolutely tons of heart, and I'm kind of sad that I'm kind of rocketing towards the end. There's only 21 volumes. I'm currently reading volume 19, and it's kind of like I don't want it to end. You know, you go on this journey with them and you learn so much about the kids, and you don't want the journey to end because you know how it's going to end, and it's bittersweet. The volumes themselves are absolutely beautiful. Each one has a different colour and face of Koro Sensei. Some of my favourites are, I really like volume 12, and there's also volume 18, which has kind of sakura blossoms, but all of the blossoms are Koro Sensei's face. All of the covers have these great kind of patterns and colours, and it's really fun to collect them. They look lovely on my shelf as well. I would definitely recommend picking up Assassination Classroom if you like shonen manga. It's very much not your typical shonen jump title, but it's one with a lot of heart, and I would be hard pressed to say that you won't fall in love with all of the characters by the end, and you'll not want it to end. Assassination Classroom, really enjoying that one. So that's it for today's monthly manga reading video. Let me know in the comments below what you think of what I've been reading, and also let me know what you guys have been reading this month. I'm always love to hear what you guys have been reading in the comments. There's a couple that when you've commented I've actually gone out and picked them up. Way of the Househusband and Children of the Whales came from recommendations specifically. Keep those recommendations pouring in. I always like to find new series. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video and this kind of content, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel and ringing the bell. That's the best way to get the content as and when it comes out. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Northern Soul Reaper, and until next time, goodbye.